Hello again. As you know, I am Eli, the Computer Guy, and today's class is Navigation in Windows Server 2012. So this is the next class in the track for Windows Server 2012, and sadly, we really do have to do a class on navigation in Windows Server 2012 because it is so horrible. There's a lot of argument right now about whether or not the interface for Windows 8 is good or bad, and I don't know. I don't like the Windows 8 interface, but hey, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe other people are cooler than me, and the Windows 8 interface makes a whole lot of sense for a client operating system. Well, let me tell you, whatever the hell sense Windows 8 interface has, the 2012 server is just a utter and complete nightmare. Basically, what they have done is they have taken the Windows 8 user interface, put it onto a server operating system, and then added layers of just what the hell are you talking about? So again, in Windows 8, I know there are some people that actually like the interface. Most of us hate the interface. Hey, you know, maybe that's just an opinionated thing, but Windows Server 2012 really is an awful, nasty, horrible mess. And even if you've been administrating servers before, when you see this thing, you're probably going to be confused about what to do next just because it's so horrible, and that's why we're going to have a class on it. So I'm going to show you today how to use the server manager. I'm going to show you how to use like the startish type button, how to use search, how to use the MMC control panel, how to shut the computer off and all that. Because again, even in the server operating system, they have just put everything just bass-ackwards as they talk about it. So most of this class is going to be on my little Windows computer here, so I can show you how this works. So, since, you know, this is a hands-on thing, let's get on to this, get onto my, my server here so we can show you what's going on. So this is the Windows Server 2012 interface. So once you are done installing Windows Server 2012, you are going to get this. And if you're like me, you're probably going to wonder, okay, what do I do now? Well, the first thing that we're going to look at today is Server Manager. Server Manager actually is a pretty nifty little tool, but again, it's kind of buried in a place where, you know, if you don't know what's going on, it can be complicated to figure out how to use it. So what we do is we go down the lower left-hand corner here, and there's this little, I don't know, toolbox looking thing, and this is Server Manager. So this is where we can perform a lot of functions for managing our server. Now, when this comes up, we're going to come to a dashboard, and it's going to give you information. So here right now it's telling us we can add roles and features, we can add other servers to manage, we can create a server group. A lot of this stuff we're going to talk about in other classes, but basically to give you an idea, all this information is what you see when you come to the Server Manager screen. Where it gets interesting is if we go over to a local server, this will give us some information about the server that we are dealing with. So right here it says the computer name. So this is going to give us the computer name. This is going to give us the work group name or the domain name the server is in. It is going to tell us whether the firewall is on, whether remote management is enabled, whether remote desktop is enabled, NIC teaming, how the Ethernet works, the operating system. It's going to tell us if updates have been installed, error reporting, and then all the way over here on the right hand side it's going to tell us the processor, the installed RAM, and the total disk space. So right here we can get a lot of information about what's going on with this server. If we go down, we can also see that it shows us the events. So this particular computer, this server hasn't done a whole lot, so there's not too many events here, but if there were a lot of things going on, we could see the event viewer. We can also see services, the status of the services, and the best practices analyzer. Also, if we keep scrolling down, we can then see performance. So what's going on with the CPU on this computer. and then we can also see things like roles and features, what are installed. So this local server dashboard tells us a lot of information about this particular server. One of the nice things with this is you'll see that with a computer name and workgroup and firewall, these are actually links. So if I wanted to change the name of this server, I could simply click on its current name and it will bring up the old system properties. You know, you've probably seen, I think this has been around since Windows 95, Windows NT 4.0. So basically you come here, and if you want to change the name or change the domain or workgroup, you can click on change and do it from there. So that is one of the nice things with this dashboard. If we go over to all servers, we can actually group servers together to administer them. We would see those servers there, and also file and storage. This will come along in different classes. Just know that this exists right now. The big thing in Server Manager is this, where it tells you about the local server. This is what you're going to be dealing with a lot. Now from here, the next thing that we look at is, if we go up, we can look at the tools option, and this will give us some of the tools that we are used to using. So you can see that there's computer management here, defragment and optimize disks, event viewer, resource monitor, services, so on and so forth. So if you're trying to figure out where to get to computer management from, you know, one of the tools that we really do use a whole lot, you can get to computer management from here. The big thing though that I want you to know when you're going to be interacting with this server is you need to go and you need to understand this whole management option right here. Management option and the add roles and features is going to be a lot more useful than it normally is. The reason is because normally what happens when you click on add roles and features, this gives you the ability to say what this server is going to do. So we clicked on that. From here we can click next. We can say next for right now. We can say that it's this particular server, we're not administering a different server. And from here we can say what we want this server to do. So do we want this server to do Active Directory domain services? Do we want this to be a DHCP server, a DNS server, a fax server, a Hyper-V server, remote access, so on and so forth. So this is the normal server functionality, IIS, that you're used to looking at. So you think, okay, I installed the operating system for the server, now I need to turn it into whatever it's going to be, an Active Directory server or an IIS server. Well, the weird thing with Server 2012 is this gives you the ability to add roles, but if you don't click on anything here and go to next, it will then give you the ability to add features. Now this is important because this is the extra functionality of the server that, for the love of the spaghetti monster, you would think that some of this stuff would have been activated already. So one of the issues I had on my one server, again, I'm using these crappy old Gateway laptops in order to test the Windows Server 2012. Well, one of the issues is I had a wireless network card in that laptop computer. Well, if you want to be able to use your wireless network card, you actually have to come here and select wireless LAN services and click next. If I do that, that will install the wireless LAN services. Wireless LAN services are not installed by default. So although you do have the device driver, although the wireless card technically functions, Windows cannot use it until you go here and you select this wireless LAN service. Again, they have weird things. XPS Viewer you have to set up here. Windows Server Backup. There are a lot of options here that you would think would just be set up by default, where you in fact have to come here and actually install the feature. So this is one of the big things for you to remember, is again, if you have like a wireless card in your laptop computer you're playing with, you have to come to this feature section in order to actually get it to work. So basically all you would do is you would check off what you want here, you click next, you go through the install procedure, and there's not much more to it. So this is the Server Manager. So we're going to be using this some in the future, and overall the Server Manager is pretty useful. Just remember, manage, add roles and features, or tools gets you all of these different options. Now from here, we can exit out of this, and again, we're now looking at the desktop. And so one of the problems, a lot of people would say, with Windows 8 is you have no start button. Well, if you go down to the lower left-hand corner here and hover, you will see that you'll get this little start icon thing that opens up. If I click this, it will bring me to a Metro style interface. Well, if I want things like computer management, what I can also do is if I go here and I hover, there we go, I can right click this icon and it will also give me options. So from here I can get to programs and features, power options, event viewer, system, device manager, disk management. Again, these are a lot of the tools we are used to using as administrators, and you get to them by right clicking on this start icon, by hovering over the left bottom corner and then right clicking the icon when it shows up. So if you need command prompt, this is where you would get it from. If you need command prompt in administrative mode, as the administrator, this is where you get it from. Task Manager Control Panel. This is where a lot of the tools that you need will actually be located. Don't ask me why they're buried here. Now if we click on Computer Management, because again this is one of the tools that everybody needs, you will see, and this is the weird thing with both with Windows 8 and with Windows Server 2012, is this looks basically exactly like it's looked since Windows 2000. So they've done all these weird interface changes to get here, but then once we're here, hey, look at this. We've got Event Viewer, and we've got Device Manager, and we've got Performance, and we've got Local Users and Groups. So once you get here, it's basically the same as it's always been. What all you have to do is figure out, how to get here. So that is the little start icon. If you go down to the left-hand corner and then right-click, you will get that. Now, just like with Windows 8, if we then go up to the upper right-hand corner, we will get this little thing that pops out from the right-hand side. So from here we get the search option, can go to the start menu again, or we get settings. Now one of the things, if we click on settings, you can see that there's some interesting things here. But again, what I wonder about, what I don't understand with Windows Server 2012 is how bad the interface is put together. Because if I go into personalization here, you will see that this page is not available in this edition of Windows. Okay, well then why the hell is the icon there? Microsoft is killing me with this interface. But we can go to settings, and there are important things here, such as we can get server information. So if you want to figure out what the processor, how much RAM, the computer name, you can go here to get that information. You can also change the settings. And the big thing for everybody, since nobody can figure out how to power on and off this Windows 8 and Windows 2012 server, is we go to settings and then we go to power, we click that, and then it gives you the option to shut down or restart. So that is there. But again, like I say, with these weird little user interface icons, if we click on network, and this is all it gives us, connected. Like you can hear me clicking on this. It doesn't do anything. Like why is that useful? I don't know why it's useful. So again, what I want you to understand, especially as new people, if you walk into this user interface and you're like, I don't understand what's going on, don't worry, neither does Microsoft. So the big one, the nice part that I do have to say with Windows 8 and with Windows Server 2012 is this search function is very useful. So if you need any tool, you need any utility, go do the search and it will find it for you. So let's say I needed to worry about device drivers. I could type in device under search, and then it separates out between apps, settings, and files. So if nothing shows up over here on the left-hand side, look over on the right-hand side and see if you're on the right thing. So I can put in device, and then I can click on settings, and now it pops up with the different things that I might want. Devices and printers, view devices and printers. So if I want device manager, I can now click on that, and again it will open up device manager. Again, I think this looks about the same way it did back in Windows NT 4.0. Now, again, being servers, a server, the big thing that people like to use is MMC tools. So the Microsoft Management Console, again, these have been around since Windows 2000. So all you have to do if you want a Microsoft Management Console, type in MMC to the search. When it shows up, you click on this, and again, this is the old MMC consoles we've seen forever. You click on File, Add Remove Snap-in, you decide what you want to add to your MMC console. I don't know, local backup. They give you some new options with this. We'll go into more of this when we have different classes. Then you click OK, and now we have the MMC console, just like we've had since Windows 2000. All this information is there, and we can save the MMC console if we want to. So that's a lot of it. Then what we can do is we can go to the Start menu now, or that Start screen, the Metro interface as they used to call it. Now you can get to that by either going to the left-hand corner here and clicking Start, or going to the upper right-hand corner and clicking Start, or if you have a Windows key on your server, on your keyboard, you can just click the Windows key and that will scroll you between the desktop interface or the Metro interface. Now from the Metro interface, this is what you're used to seeing. The only difference is the utilities that are here are special for a server. So you have Server Manager, you have Windows PowerShell, Task Manager, so on and so forth. Now if you want to see the other programs that are installed on the computer, just put your cursor in the middle of the screen and then right click, and then the little toolbar, the little bar at the bottom of the screen shows up, and we can click on All Apps. So we click on All Apps, and this gives us a lot of the other programs that are installed on the computer. So, you know, we can see we have administrative tools, command prompt, step recorder, blah, 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 blah. Now, if there's a tool here that you like to use and you want to continue using and you don't want to have to go through this whole messy process to get here, if I right-click on this, it will give me the option of pinning this either to the taskbar on the desktop view or to the Start page, that Metro interface. So if I do Pin to Start, and then I go back to Start, we can now see that command prompt is here. If I go and I do All Apps, and let's see, I scroll over, again, if I want to pin this to the taskbar, then what I can do is come here, and now I see the command prompt is on the taskbar. So this is basically what you need to know in order to navigate around in this Windows Server 2012. Again, it is just, wow, it's confusing. It's confusing and it's a nightmare, and some things don't work and a lot of things don't work right, but you know, hey, what are you gonna do? Now you might notice up here in the upper left hand corner I have Google Chrome installed. Now the reason I have Google Chrome installed is because Microsoft realizes that the biggest vector for viruses and spyware and all kinds of crap to get into your server is by people using Internet Explorer and going to porn sites on your server. And don't laugh, I've seen it in the real world. So what they try to do to protect you from that is Internet Explorer on a Windows server is not the Windows Internet Explorer you know and love and hate out in the normal world. Basically, this has enhanced security features, so the default security function for Internet Explorer on the server is a complete pain in the butt to use. So like I say, if I go to google.com, and then maybe I want to go and look for drivers, what you're going to get is you're going to start getting all of these prompts whenever you try to do anything. When you try to download stuff, it's going to give you prompts about whether or not to do it, and a lot of times things just don't work right when you use Internet Explorer on a server. The reason is because all the security features of Internet Explorer have been topped out. Basically, you're using Internet Explorer with the maximum security settings, and when you do that, things like Java don't work, Flash don't work, downloads may or may not work. There's just all kinds of nasty problems when you try to use Internet Explorer on a server. So what I have found, since I trust myself not to go to porn sites on somebody else's server, is if you download and install Google, it just makes your life a whole lot easier. I can now go to CNN.com and it just works. I don't get any security problems or any issues or any of that. So this is especially for you guys when you go and you're working on a server and you need to download drivers and you need to download antivirus stuff and you need to download patches. If you need to go on the internet a lot on your server, do yourself a favor, install Google Chrome and use it at least while you need to work on the system, and then when you're done, you can uninstall it. But again, using Internet Explorer on a server has been a nightmare since I think Server 2003. It's just a complete pain in the butt. So that's really all there is to navigating in Windows Server 2012. I decided to do a class on this just because I found it's just a pain in the butt to get around, especially even, like I say, old timers that have been doing this a while. It really is counterintuitive. You know, we're used to clicking like a computer or my computer or whatever they call it, computer. We're used to clicking on that. You right click, you click manage, and you get a lot of the functions and tools, or you go to the MMC snap-in. Now with how they've set everything up, even us old timers are like, "Wow!" And especially for you new guys, like I showed you, some of the icons don't even seem to work right. Some of them give you just information that doesn't make sense or is useful. Other stuff is a nightmare. Again, if you try to use Internet Explorer on a Windows server, it is just a horrible nightmare to use. So these are the big things you should know. The more you use Windows Server 2012, the easier this will become. But even making it easier, I just think they've turned this into a bit of a convoluted mess. I mean, the question, like, that's, you know, as a professional, again, the question about whether or not Windows 8 makes any sense, that's a question, I suppose, but you can see they added a lot of that touchscreen functionality into Windows Server 2012 when... Are your servers touchscreen? One of the big things that I will warn you about, you guys may be thinking, hey, Eli, this is cool. I can have a touchscreen server. That will be the coolest thing in the world. Well, remember, when you're working on servers, a lot of the administrative changes you make, you can do a lot of damage if you click off the wrong checkbox or if you select the wrong radio button. So with the mouse and cursor, it's very easy to go, okay, I know I want that option, and you click that option and you're good. The problem is, in a touchscreen environment for a server, it would be very easy to click off on the wrong option and all of a sudden shut down some very important service on your server, and you may not even realize that you did it. So I think touchscreens on servers are just a horrendous idea, but you know, that's me. So, as you know, I'm Eli, the computer guy. This class was Navigation in Windows Server 2012. I enjoyed teaching this class and I look forward to seeing you at the next one.